All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to unpack the Family, a Proclamation to the World. It's a really significant document from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that was released back in 1995. It outlines a very specific vision for family life. So we're going to explore what it says, why it was written, and why it's still such a big deal today.
So, that brings up a pretty big question, right? Think about it. It's 1995. Ideas about gender, marriage, and family are changing fast and becoming huge topics of public debate. So why, at that specific moment, did the highest leaders of this church feel the need to issue a formal, worldwide declaration about the family? What was going on that prompted such a definitive statement?
Well, the answer comes straight from the church president who actually introduced it. He talked about a world where it felt like truths were getting twisted and core values were under attack. So the proclamation was meant to be a clear, steady response to all that noise. A way to, in his words, warn and forewarn by restating the church's core beliefs about family.
Okay, to really get this document, we have to look past the surface-level statements. We've got to start with the core theology behind it, this whole idea of an eternal family plan. This is the foundation for everything else.
The whole thing starts way before life on earth. The core belief here is that every single person began as a spirit child of heavenly parents. This idea establishes a divine origin for everyone, and it sets up a heavenly family as the blueprint, the pattern that earthly families are meant to follow.
And this right here, this is the key. The divine plan of happiness. It's the framework that holds the entire proclamation together. In this view, our life here on earth isn't the beginning and the end. It's actually just a critical middle step. One chapter in a much, much bigger story about progressing and hopefully becoming more like God.
You can kind of see that journey broken down into 3 stages here. It begins with a premortal life, where we lived as spirits. Then comes mortal life, our time now, which is all about getting a physical body and learning from our experiences. And finally, it points to a post-mortal life, where they believe special temple ceremonies can actually unite families forever. And the one thing that connects all 3 stages? The family. It is absolutely central to the entire plan.
So, now that we have the big picture, let's see how that plan translates into specific principles for life right here on Earth. This section is all about what the proclamation calls the divine pattern.
Right out of the gate, here's the foundational statement on marriage. It's defined as a relationship that is ordained of God, and it's specifically between a man and a woman. This isn't just presented as a good idea, it's seen as absolutely essential to that eternal plan we just talked about.
Now, this is a really fascinating point. Let's look at how it defines gender. According to the proclamation, gender isn't just a biological or social construct for this life. It's an essential characteristic of who you are, forever. It's a core part of your identity before you were born, during your life now, and on into eternity.
The proclamation also reaches back to the book of Genesis to reaffirm a very old commandment. It teaches that the instruction for God's children to have their own children, to multiply and replenish the earth, is not an outdated idea but a divine mandate that is still in force today.
And this slide adds a very specific context for that commandment. The ability to create life is viewed as a sacred power. Because of that, the document is very clear that this power should only be used between a man and a woman who are legally and lawfully married.
Okay, so we've covered the big doctrinal points. Now the proclamation kind of shifts gears and becomes much more of a practical guide. You can think of this next part as a blueprint for a happy home.
And the entire blueprint is built on one core idea, that true, lasting happiness in a family is most likely to happen when that family is built on the teachings of Jesus Christ. That's presented as the bedrock for everything else that follows.
So what are the building blocks? Well, here they are. The proclamation lists 9 key principles. It's things like faith, prayer, repentance, forgiveness, respect, love, compassion, good old-fashioned work, and even just having fun together. These are presented as the essential ingredients for a strong family.
From there, the document outlines specific primary responsibilities for parents. It states that, by divine design, fathers are meant to preside over and provide for their family's needs and protection. In a parallel way, it says that mothers are primarily responsible for the nurture of their children.
But, and this is a huge but, right after laying out those roles, it adds this crucial qualifier. It emphasizes that in all of these sacred responsibilities, fathers and mothers are obligated to help one another as equal partners. So it stresses that this isn't a hierarchy, but a partnership of equals.
Now we get to the final section. and you can really feel the tone shift. It moves away from just teaching and becomes a direct warning and a call to action, not just for church members, but for the whole world. First, there's a warning aimed at individuals. It says that people who violate moral covenants, who abuse family members, or who fail to take care of their family responsibilities will one day have to stand accountable before God for their actions.
Then that warning zooms out from the personal to the societal. It makes a really big claim that the breakdown of the family as an institution will lead to the very disasters and calamities for communities and nations that prophets, both old and new, have warned about.
And the whole thing wraps up with this direct call to action. It's a plea to responsible citizens and officers of government everywhere to actively promote laws and measures that are designed to protect and strengthen the family, which it defines as the most basic, fundamental unit of society.
So here we are, almost 3 decades later, and this document is still a cornerstone belief for millions of people and a major reference point in cultural debates. Which kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. How does a religious statement about the family, written back in 1995, continue to so powerfully shape personal beliefs and public conversations today?